Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to teach you today how I contour and highlight and how to get a glowy look. I'm starting with the MAC Natural Radiance Primer. I'm just going to put that all over and then go on straight into the foundation, which I'm using MAC Studio Fix Fluid for. This is in the shade NC30, which you can see is slightly darker than the skin on my face, but I have got tan on this video, so I wanted to match my face up to my neck, so I had to go slightly darker with the foundation. How I've applied it today is just by using a small flat foundation brush and painting it straight onto my face and then using the beauty blender to blend it out. So just keep repeating that step until I've got enough coverage that I want. Usually with the Studio Fix fluid you only really need one kind of layer of it. Sometimes if you're going on a night out you may want to just add extra for extra coverage. I am actually using the beauty blender damp as well, which is really a must when you're using a beauty blender, just because otherwise you're going to take away too much of your excess product, and the beauty blender is only supposed to take away about 10% of anything that we don't need on our faces. So after the foundation, the next step is to start our highlight. So for this I'm going to do a cream highlight, and I'm going to use this iconic cream contour palette. And I'm going to take this really light shade on the left here, and I'm going to go straight under the eyes with that. The reason why I go with the lightest shade for the under eyes is that's where I want the most brightness. That's where we suffer the most from being tired, from dark circles, from bags. So that bright colour is really going to bring out the under eye. This is only because it suits my skin tone. If you are a darker skin tone, this bright colour may be too much, so you may need to take it down a shade or two darker. I'm also drawing in triangles underneath the eyes and dragging it up towards my cheekbones. And then I'm going to take a slightly darker shade, not as bright as the one that we have on the under eyes, just because we don't want it bright all over the face. And I'm going to place that down all the centre parts of my face, so on down the nose, on the forehead, on the chin and on the cupid's bow. And that's because this is where we want to highlight, so this is where we want to bring out. So whereas contouring is everything that we want to bring in and make smaller. So I'm going to go back in with the beauty blender again and just start to blend all this out, make sure that there's no kind of harsh lines or any excess product. I've also put a little bit of concealer around my mouth, as I feel like this can also make your lips look bigger if you tend to highlight around and then contour with your lip liner. This is just something that I've always kind of found myself works. And because sometimes you can get dark circles around your lips or little dark patches, so I tend to put the highlighter on down there as well, just to even it all out. So for me personally, everything that I do with cream, I then have to set with powder. So for my under eyes only, I'm just going to use the Mercier Secret brightening powder. And this Real Techniques fluffy, it's supposed to be a contour brush, but I use it to set. And I'm just going to push that product literally underneath my eyes. This is because the Secret brightening powder is very light in texture as opposed to the translucent powder. But I'm then going to take the translucent powder and use this to set the rest of my face. So I don't use it to set the under eyes because I feel like it's really thick and I don't want to create any lines. I'm then going to go back into my iconic cream contour palette, and I'm going to take this really dark shade here. And I'm going to take a bigger foundation brush this time, and I'm just going to line up from the corner of my mouth and to the top of my ear, and this is usually roughly on everybody where you should be contouring. So this line, not all the way down, but this line should give you a guideline as to where you want to place your cream contour. So as you see, I'm lining up the corner of my mouth to the top of my ear, and this should give me a rough place as to where my cheekbones would be if I had some. So all I'm trying to do here is just even it up and make sure it's the same on both sides. Sometimes I do like to round up the corners on the ends, and this is just to give you the element of like lifted cheekbones. And then I'm going to also take this slightly lighter shade, and I'm just going to press the darker foundation around my forehead and around my nose. I've not gone for the very dark colour this time, just because I feel like you don't need it to be that dark on your forehead. But what this is doing now is this is bringing all the perimeter of our face inwards and creating more of an angular look, and also quite a bronze look as well. I'm just using a big NYX foundation brush just to blend all this in. So just keep going and going and going. I've sped this up, but really it takes a really long time to blend. And I'm just gonna keep going all the way and just making sure that everything is totally blended. I'm just going to take a slightly smaller brush just to blend the contour on my nose, just so I can really reach it and make sure that it's totally blended out. I'm then going to go in with my damp beauty blender once again and just make sure everything is totally seamless. I'm then going to take my Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit, and I'm just going to use some of the lighter shades, which I didn't actually show you there, but I'm just using the banana shade, which is the yellow one in the middle, and I'm just using this just to set the under eyes again and all over the face, just to brighten it up, as yellow is a brightener. I'm then going to take the more ashy shade of the contour palette and a flat brush, and I'm just literally going to run along the product where I've put the foundation, where I've put the darker concealer, and this is just to really make sure that that's prominent and that you can see it, and also to set it to make sure that it's not going anywhere and it's not sliding and it's not moving, because I have got quite oily skin, so I find that if I don't set any of my creamy products, then they will move. I'm then going to go back in with the Laura Mercier translucent powder and just a flat sponge, and all I'm going to do is just run it along my contour here. And what this is going to do is this is just going to bake, so between the temperature between my skin and the powder is just going to really set that contour and make sure it doesn't move. Sometimes people find that this looks a little bit heavy, but I love it. I'm then going to go in with the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Bronzer. This is in the colour Dark Tan. And all I'm going to do is just bronze up all of the skin, so go over that contour that we've done and give it a warmer kind of tone, and concentrate it all onto the forehead, on the jawline and underneath the chin as well. The reason why I do this as well as the powder is because one's a contour powder and that's slightly thicker than a bronzer, and this bronzer is very kind of light, and it's not too thick, so it's great to use on all over the skin. But maybe as a contour powder on its own might be a little bit too light. I'm then just going to wipe away that powder that we used to set before, and you can see there you've got a much cleaner line without kind of making it too harsh. So now I'm just going to add some blush, and this is Pinch Me by MAC. This is one of my favourite blushes. It's so pink and so girly, and you don't need a lot of it, so it lasts ages. I'm just going to literally press that just onto the apples of my cheeks, and I'm also going to blend it as well. So usually using the beauty blender again, just go over that. And then now we're going to get onto shimmer highlighting. So these are the Iconic drops, and this is in the colour Original, I think. Yeah, it's Original. I'm just going to press that onto my cheekbones, and I'll also press a little bit on my nose as well. I'm going to use my fingers to blend this just because I feel like that's the best result you can get with this kind of texture of product. I'm going to use the beauty blender as well because I use it for everything, but you can see it takes a little bit of work just to blend it in and make sure that you don't have any kind of lines. So I'm just going to keep going over with the brush, a little bit more blusher as well, because sometimes the highlight can take away from the blusher. So as you can see, that glow is looking really nice, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to add some powder highlight over the top as well, because this is just the way I do things. I do things with liquid and then I also like to add powder over the top. So I'm going to be using the Soft and Gentle highlighter, it's the Mineralise highlighter by MAC, and a fluffy brush, and I'm going to just place it over the top of the liquid highlight. Using this Real Techniques setting brush and the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sugar Glow palette and this like pinky tone shade here, I'm just going to push a little bit of the product onto the liquid highlight, and you don't need a lot. Really, less is more sometimes when it comes to highlight, because we want to look like we're glowing from within and not just sitting on top of the skin. And I've added myself some brows and some lips, and I'm just going to spray on my Urban Decay De Slick setting spray, and hope that you actually learned something from this. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.